In our previous lesson, we're able to time remap this footage so that we have a little bit faster motion, then we have this slower motion where we'll have information, and then it'll go back to almost regular speed here at the end. And the reason why we added these markers is so that we'll know exactly where to add this graphic. But we need to build this graphic, and luckily After Effects has all the tools we need to do this. So we'll start down here at the end so that we'll know exactly how much room we have before this graphic has to leave our scene. We'll just grab this rounded rectangle, and let's go ahead and for our fill color, we can go ahead and define these now. So we do want an opacity of a little less than 100%, so maybe like 50% or so. Let's try that. And for our fill color, maybe we want like a yellow or a green. Maybe if we sample this grass and kind of brighten that up a little bit. So maybe this golden color would work. And then for our stroke, we do have a nice 14-point stroke. So let's go ahead and just draw our shape here. And you can see that looks pretty nice. You can see through it, and it has that bright yellow color. And we're going to just bring this down here towards the bottom. And what we're going to do also is we're going to add a mask so that we can kind of mask out some of the bottom here, so it looks like that the brush is actually kind of in front of this graphic. And we're also going to pull in our logo. So this little Nature Watch logo, this is representational of our program. So our program has been branded Nature Watch, and it's not affiliated with any existing Nature Watches if such a thing exists. This is just for our example. And let's go ahead and put this maybe over here in the corner, something like that. And let's also create another stroke. So you can see we have this black stroke already, and we can come over here and we can add a stroke. And this stroke, when we define its properties, so its color is going to be white. Its width, let's make this a little bit wider. And you can see that it's actually adding this stroke behind the other one. That is because the other stroke, if we were to open up the contents and open up the rectangle, the other stroke was just inside the contents here. And if we wanted to take all these out, we could. We would just pull those out and then just place them down here below our rectangle. So then we have our stroke 2, our stroke, our fill 1, and our stroke 1. And if we wanted to name those, we could do that as well. So this is the black. So maybe I want to hit enter on my keyboard and call it black, and then maybe put it down here by the other stroke. And then this one, hit enter, we'll just call that one white. Just so we know, and we can kind of keep those straight. But you can see there's something interesting happening where the fill is actually hanging out in front of the strokes. Call this yellow. But let's go ahead and put that behind our strokes. There we go. Way better. And let's kind of zoom in a little bit, make sure that everything looks good. All right, look, everything looks pretty good. And let's add some text. So let's go ahead and we'll just draw a text box within this rounded rectangle. And let's put in some deer facts. So these will be the black tail deer facts. And looks like I have some formatting already for my my text. I'm going to go ahead and pull some of that out. So I had the margin actually pushed over a little bit, and then let's increase our font. So I have 32 points for the headline part, and then for the rest, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and add some deer facts down here. Let's see. So for the first fact, I'll have that it is the species, and the species is O. Hemionus. And that's actually true. I didn't just make that up. But I do want the size to be a little smaller. Let's see how small we can go. So maybe 28, we'll try that for now. If there's anything longer than that, we might need to make all the text a little bit smaller. Another fact is that it consumes poison oak. Well, that's cool. Who wants poison oak sitting around? the fawns weigh, how much do they weigh? They weigh about 2.7 to 4 kilograms. That's a cool fact. And then I'm actually going to change this from bold to just regular. Yeah, we'll keep it a little bold. I want to make sure that people can read it. And then what we can do is maybe we'll make it just a point size smaller. Maybe like, how about 26? All right, so our next fact is that the, let's see, gestation period of 6.5 months. So it looks like we've got to make it just a little bit smaller. So how about 25? And then let's see, how about for another fact? Another fact is that they communicate with scent. Awesome. And we can add a little bit of spacing here. So we can go to our character. We can increase this spacing. Looks pretty good. We will just nudge this down. Maybe we'll increase our logo just a little bit. So there are our facts for our black-tailed deer. Awesome. All right, so our black-tailed deer has all these awesome facts about it, and what we want to do is we want to create the animation of this graphic coming in. So what we can do is we can go ahead and we'll come to the start, and we're going to have this information just kind of zoom in. So maybe right before we slow down, then we'll have our Nature Watch logo. So hit P on your keyboard, and we're going to create the keyframe of where it showed up. So we'll just take it and drag it forward a little. And then since we're back here and where it is supposed to show up, then we can go ahead and make it pop onto the scene. And then let's see, what else can we do? So we're going to be right here where the text shows up. And we'll go ahead and create a keyframe for the rounded rectangle. So let's open up our rectangle. We're going to have our rectangle transform properties, and we have this scale. Let me show you something cool about this rounded rectangle scale. So if we created a keyframe, maybe drag it forward a little bit, and we brought this scale down, it kind of creates like a perfect little ball if we get down to like 1%. And then let's also create a keyframe for its position. And we'll bring that forward about like that. And then now we can make an adjustment for the position just by using these values. It's important just to use these values so that we don't actually create a keyframe for the layer itself. We just want to go ahead and use the transform for the rectangle. So maybe we want this to show up like out of that C. How about that? And then if we kind of just scrub forward, you can see we have it grow right out of that logo once it shows up. About like that. And we can also end or take the edges of that layer and make it just disappear so that it doesn't exist before the logo gets there. So it looks like we need to just drag it one more frame. About like that. Awesome. All right, but now we need to make our text show up. So let's go ahead and we'll just create a preset for our text, because there are some great effects and presets that will work for us. So once we have our text show up, then we'll just go and we have these under animation presets, we have some presets, then we have some under text, and we have one that is called the typewriter. It's very straightforward, pretty easy to use. Just double click on it, and then for that text layer, let's hit T, or let's hit, excuse me, U, and that'll show the keyframes that we have. And that will allow you to adjust the keyframes for how fast that text shows up. And we want it to show up pretty quickly. We want people to have time to read everything. So if we just kind of take a little preview here, we have our logo show up, and we have the box grow. So maybe we could even take the typewriter and drag back those keyframes. So just as it's showing up, then the text is showing up. Maybe even give it just a few more frames to type that out. Awesome. That'll work. So there's our Nature Watch bug that we've just created. And so now that we have animated this, then in our next lesson, then we'll be learning how to take this, package it up, animate it off our scene, and try to integrate this into our footage.